Evening, everyone. My name is Mark Paiva, and I am the area leader for Area 1B. And I'm joined here tonight by the vice area leader, Juanita Nichols. We're both from MD4. My home club is the Huntington Beach Host Lions, and I'm going to let Juanita tell you what her host club is.
My district is MD4A3, and my host club is the Santa Maria Sunrisers.
And we're joined tonight by people from Washington, Hawaii, Alaska, and Oregon. And I'm real excited about what's happening tonight. We have with us the Area 1H Vice Area Leader for LCIF, Manny Sanchez, PDG Manny Sanchez. And he's going to share with us some really valuable information about LCIF. What he's going to do in addition to that is he's going to share with us how we can use LCIF as a membership growth initiative. And so let me introduce PDG Manny Sanchez. It's all yours, Manny.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's fun to be here. And I do say it is fun to be here. We're going to have some fun tonight. And I'm going to go over some of the options. You may be a well-seasoned person with LCIF, but in the sense we've always learned stuff together. And this is the idea that we're going to work together. So I'm going to share my slides. And I'm going to find my slides. There it is. And I'm done. No, just kidding. Let me get to the front slide. There we go. All right. So again, welcome everyone. Can you see the full slides on your screen? Okay. Again, I'm PDG Manny Sanchez. My home club is Montebello, California. I'm part of District 4L2, which is East Los Angeles and California, multiple District 4. So our objective today is really to reach out and to talk about the partnerships between the LCIF and the GAT team and overall. So part of this idea today was to show you in this session about the Global Impact Service and how we promote membership, because again, service is membership. And I will define the coordinator's goal with the GAT and provide some and what we do to provide to the districts and clubs and how we make this happen and support the GMA and Mission 1.5. Then I will go through some resources and then I will open it up to you. So here we go. So again, this is actually out of the bylaws. And this is at the club level. This is the club bylaws, LA2, I think it is. And the position is to collaborate with the club service chair and the global action team to support club initiatives. That's what the LCIF coordinators are doing. They're not just fundraising, they're strategizing to say, hey, why don't we try it this way? Or why don't we do it this way? And we're going to go a little beyond, we're going to really be specific to the clubs in this session because we know what we can do at the district level and the matching grants, but you're going to hear a little bit of things that are a lot more broader by design to get the clubs involved. So as we go in the bylaws, if you can see here, this is the standard bylaws in the Article 8 and Section 1 about membership. It says that the LCIF coordinator and program coordinator, we are a part of the group. We're actually voting members now. There's been lots of changes with the group. So both the Global Action Team and the LCIF coordinator are part of the board. So that was been modified over the past 2 years. And in the structure, in the standard structure, you'll see us because the immediate past president is the coordinator if the club has not specified a person, an individual to do it. So by default, the immediate past president becomes the coordinator by design. But again, if your club decides to elect a separate coordinator, that's completely fine. But again, as you can see, they are a club officer. They are voting members in this org chart. And so they're here to help you and to give you information way beyond what has been done. We're really trying hard to share what the foundation was originally designed to do. So on the district level, again, here we go. We utilize LCI resources. The Global Action Team coordinates with the LCIF coordinator to support club health, membership, service. That's what we do together. The funds are there, and at the very end, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Again, this is in our standard bylaws. Without reading the entire thing, it's at the very last paragraph. In addition to district global membership coordinators, global leadership coordinators, service, extension coordinators, marketing chair, the LCIF coordinator may be a member of the district. Now, the word may be, as defined from what I've been told, is that unlike the secretary and the treasurer, those are mandatory required positions. But if you don't fill it, you're not obligated to fill it. But if they're filled, then they are voting members of the club of the district. And in this org chart, as you can see, part of the officers, we are coordinators within it, and they put us in the center because we're supposed to be actually working with all the groups. That's our job. So you couldn't have little sticks going to everything. That's one of the big things about us. We're there to help different angles, and I'll explain a little bit in this what that means. So as we move on, and I'll move on to it, we want to ask, how do we do this? Well, obviously, when we ask for donations, we give out grants. So with the grants, we have so many. Now, some of you know how many grants we have, and we got quite a bit of them, and multiple tiers and sub-levels of grants, and some that I won't even say in this meeting, but we mean that grants mean projects, and projects mean membership, and membership means growth. It's pretty simple. This is what we're supposed to do. And when the foundation was developed, it was for getting funding to help us out to do projects. And we've been doing that from the beginning, and we're going to continue to do that. And this is the idea and how we actually get it done. So as our global impact, these are our 8 global impact missions or activities that we do predominantly. And this has now been shared on both sides of LCI and LCIF. Remember that LCIF, being a 501c3, is a separate entity in the sense of the LCI side, all the way down. That's why there's a little bit of separation, because we're brought in as appointees through LCIF and not through the district. We're actually from the top down, are selected, interviewed, and brought in and it starts from the very chair. This year's Patty Hill. Our constitutional area leaders is Ann Schmarsh and I think Bruce Beck are the 2. Then it goes into the area leaders within the United States. And then we oversee the multiple districts, and then it goes down to the districts, then to the clubs. So why we put this up here is what the opportunities are for clubs. And at the end, I will show you that opportunity. Even though here you'll say, well, I've tried that grant and it says you have to have a district to do it. No, with this new other angle, you don't have to. And that's the community club and community impact grant, better known as DCG. So you've heard of it, you may know about it, but I'm going to get a little deeper about why this is actually a process that is excellent, because it has so much opportunity to go forward and to help your club. Again, it's the club. And as we go through this, I will answer a lot of questions at the end. I'm a little tempted right now to ask questions, but I will try not to. But at the end of how this works. So this program came out a couple of years ago. It's specifically for us to help with service. Again, donations are made throughout the year. As you know, we're always collecting donations. And in the following year, they tally up how much we've done. if a club has raised over $5,000, then they get credit for this. If the district raises over 10,000 more, they get credit. And again, that's 15, as they say, 15, and the date is from July 1 to June 30th. So when you put in your donations or you get donations or you have another foundation donating to us or corporate donating to us, or there's a major donor or legacy donor, that all counts within this calendar year. And they really get on top of us about getting all the paperwork in to count it for the specific year. Again, the idea for this grant is giving opportunities for Lions to support humanitarian activities. And this is a great way for us to do it because the money comes in. It's a simple application. In fact, it's so simple that it only goes to the office workers and the chair, Patty Hill, for approval. They vet it out. They send it up to her. She signs it. It's good to go. You don't have to wait every quarter to get the funding. So this is almost immediate. This is almost like a disaster grant. By the way, you can use this for a disaster grant too, just to let you know. So there are opportunities to do this. Now, districts and clubs qualify for the program, and they carry out, this is for them to carry out local projects. Again, this is grassroots on the ground by funding this and by submitting it either by a district or a club community impact grant, because you could do one or the other or both. There's a lot of ways to do that because there are ways to do matching, and I forgot to change that blue out, but there are ways to cross grant or cross fund this through this grant. It's extremely flexible. And when you're doing this, and you can use it, as it said, with other LCIF grants. So with that said, you can do a humanitarian grant at a club level. The district can do a hunger grant. And at the same time, you may be applying for a diabetes grant all at the same time. You actually can have all these grants open based on how you break down the amount of funds that you have available. Some people bank it together, and I will show you how much each clubs and districts will have later on. But you have the flexibility at the club level to say, you know what, I got some money over here. I'm going to do a diabetes clinic or a health clinic, and I'm going to apply for that, and I'm going to do this. Down the road, you used a little bit of it, and you're saying, you know, I want to do a food drive, and you apply for a hunger grant, or you apply that you're going to use X amount of funds. The nice thing about this is they allow you to use the funds that you have available. So there's no like minimum, not like the $10,000 matching grant. This one is a lot more flexible, and it gives you options of just doing down grassroots community and really getting these project ideas off the ground because they were lacking funds. This is how it was designed, so that if you have an idea, you want to go small at it, and you go for this, bam, you got it. My club, for example, is very energized with this. We have ways of actually building up our reserves, our credits. It's pretty easy for our club because we know we got one or two continuous donors that always go for a pin, a progressive Melvin Jones. And our club traditionally gives out a Melvin Jones to the Lion of the Year, and sometimes to the president, thanking him for his service. So our club together gets together where it's just pretty easy, and through little donations here and there, we hit our mark every year. And then you get a couple of, you know, when they say, well, we're a little bit short, and someone says, I'll do it, I'll donate. So there are ways of doing that to do that, and it adds up, and I'll show you what I mean. So again, where it says clubs have the opportunity to use the funds, what does that mean? It means you don't need to have two clubs to do your project, or it has to be under the umbrella of the district. This is a club-specific grant, and you're able to do this whatever you need. Then there's some guidelines in there and great examples about how to use the money. And I won't go into detail about filling out the application, but once you fill it out, staff will walk you through it to make it successful, or your coordinator, whichever it works. So with that, we go into grant. These are grants at the club level. And again, we want to excite people saying you got funds. You worked hard for it. You saved hard. You donated hard. You have funds. So in review, we talk about this being utilized at the club level. How it works: for every $5,000, 15% of your total contributions, excluding disaster, are tallied up every year. So again, everything but disaster. So if something happens, you said, I donated X amount for the so-and-so fire. Yes, thank you. It went to the fire. But if you do something on the other one, on the other side, because there's two buttons for donation, that tallies up for humanitarian or greatest good or need. They always change the name, but that tallies up for the qualifications to use the funds. With that, the dollar funding means there's more service. More service means there's more projects. More projects means there's more members, because we give them something to do. And to be the passion of the group that we joined us is that these are opportunities to do what you want to do. What you want to do. This is how it works. Again, 15,000 will give you 750. Next year, or someone says, "Oh yeah, I just did," they'll donate 10,000, so $1,500. And you can see how it just keeps creeping up little by little, like a savings account. And both the district and the clubs have the opportunity to earn that and build up the reserves over a 15-year period. So can you imagine going over and over and how much funds that you have? But I will show you how fast it grows. Not like a savings, there's no interest. That's just a flat mark. So multiple district 4, my district, has tallied up this year alone $138,971.21 just in clubs that are able to use the funds. The districts that this district has done $194,968.78 and district funding, totaling over 335,000. Plus, here's the fun part. Those also qualify for matching grants. Those are matching grant qualified. Can you imagine how many projects we can do? So you can go for a matching grant, get some additional money, and you have it. So now I'm going to stop this and I will show you where we're at in funding. I'm going to stop this for a second. I'm going to stop this here. Open up the trustee spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to switch over and I will show you. I got permission to actually show everyone, and your your district coordinator should have these today. These came out last week. But if you look at, this is just District 4, MD4. Look how much the district has in reserve: 17,000 in A1. 12,000, 13,000, 8,000. This column right here is just the districts that are funds that are available, that are out there. And then as you go down, like I said, those numbers, Hawaii, they got 21,000, just the district. Now you start seeing the clubs and how much money each club has available for their grants. 49A, you got 7,000. And then the clubs have more. 49B, you have 2,000 there. 39W, you have 15. And you can see some of the other districts, there's reserves into doing projects. Again, you can use these as matching grants or any of the initiatives. 19, multiple district 19 has multiple just of funds available. And if you looked at the line itself, totaling over $105,000 combined, or each section are there. You can see that you can use this as multiple ways possible to do this. And while I'm out on doing this, I'm going to share the site, even though I have resources later. about where to find this stuff. And I will go again to do this as I get down to the resources itself. So as we go to our website and you have LCIF, I always say, if you want to go specific, go to this grant and do community impact. So it just comes up as the first one. Best way to find anything on this site. So the nice thing is that everything that I told you is here. Everything, the 15% unrestricted contributions transform into the club amount. In fact, a lot of this stuff's here. This FAQ, and let's see if it'll open up. Yes, it will tell you what you can and can't do with this and how the money is actually spent. This is a really nice document just to review before you even start. And they talk about how to calculate this. If a club doesn't have enough funds, two clubs can get together and make it a bigger fund. Two clubs can get together with the district and make even a bigger club. It's very flexible to put together who's actually putting it together. You can have contributions to add to this to make it even a larger project. I'll show you, again, I'm trying not to jump around, but in this place, they have, I talked about the matching component. And I'll zoom in on this. And in this piece, they'll talk about how to put the money together if you want to do this in matching grants or within working from club to club or club to district. It's a very good step-by-step about how you can use the funds and basically be really creative in how you actually get out to do this. And then the application, again, I won't tell you how to actually fill it out. I mean, I'll help you fill it out, but in the application, again, it tells you exactly what it is. It's pretty simple, what I just showed you. And it gets into how to use this and some of the best practices to do this. And pretty much, it's pretty straightforward. Look at that, 6 steps to apply for this. And most of our grants are this simple as well. And then you'll have a small budget to talk about how you're going to do this. The funds requested and other sources. You remember I said it could be in other sources. And then the getting it endorsed. The governor does have to sign it, I have to say, or in this case, club president at the club level. So this doesn't even need to get to the club, the district governor, if a club's using it just for the club. Again, it's a very easy grant to do service projects and to move forward. This is a nice video. I won't. If you want later on, if we have time, I could play it, but it's a very good reason why the funds are being used there. There are so many best practices of how to actually use the funds and how they're being sorted out. So going back to this slideshow, death by PowerPoint. Oh, look in there. So again, you have funds that are available for you. Now we go into how do we do this? Well, like we said from the very beginning, service projects support membership growth and retention. Be creative when you're actually applying for this. Think about what will get people knocking down the doors to participate in a project. There are a lot of stuff. There's some turnkey projects you've heard about. One of my favorite is the one that you scoop dry food into bags, Ziploc it, and it goes all over the world. That's a fun project, and it's not cheap. And this is something that you can use it for. Doing something, you have to build something, and you know it's not enough money to use to get the $10,000 grant, but you may want to get a couple of clubs together to do this project that's going to actually benefit everybody. Disaster preparedness grant, I tell people. They ask for a 10% down on the $10,000 grant for disaster preparedness. Guess what? You may have enough money to put that 10% down and get yourself a trailer or equipment or whatever you need to prepare for a disaster. There's so many different things to do. Your vision, you need a spot screener. You have enough money to get that, or you get together with a couple of clubs to do one of these spot screening process. It's unlimited of what you could do as long as it's humanitarian, which basically means that even though I guess the best way to say this, even disaster relief is a humanitarian thing, but pretty much it's like an open idea, open book to use these funds. And the thing about it is that these funds, to be quite frank, have not been used a lot, and a lot of people don't know about them. And that's the point to do this. So now I get to the resources. Well, the first one is our coordinators. Our coordinators are our resources up there. We are going through, and we will be doing training for the club coordinators just to get them up to speed. We haven't done it. The curriculum has been updated. And just to give you a little hint, the GSTs and the GLTs should be recording this because this is service hours. Or just with this, going to this is service. Training them is service. Doing workshops is service. And getting them involved and moving forward. So working with your club coordinators, getting them up to speed, talking about how they can be a part of this, and then getting to the district and the multiple district coordinators. Those are your resources there. So now I'm going to go back out to the website and talk a little bit about what's out there on the site itself. Mark, are you there? I think he's
Yes,
muted.
Manny.
Do you want me to open up before I get in deeper of any Q&A, even though I have a Q&A?
Why don't we see the pulse of the room, see where people are at,
Okay.
and answer any questions based on what you just talked about?
Darlene.
All right, so my club hasn't hit the 5,000, but if we were to hit 5,000 this year, does the previous year's donation also accumulate?
No,
It just starts from the year that you start.
It's year. So if you had a bad year, then you went to a good year, then a bad year, your good year would be banked. And then if you went to another bad year, you're still not losing what you banked. And then if you have another good year after that, the same way. So
it only counts if you get minimally 5,000.
Right. And I will say I hadn't gone to that slide, or I did go through it and flew through it. What happens with that money? Well, it ends up at the district. So if you're getting credit and you came up with $4,700, the credit of that is banked with the district. And that's why you see so many huge district funded funds. A lot of the clubs have gotten funded. They didn't hit their mark. And so instead of losing it, use it or lose it, the district does it. And the idea was working together and doing a major project at the district level. So the money's there. You're just transferring who has the credit. And so that's the idea. They don't want you to lose any of this. The bottom line is not at all. But they want you to, again, see what you can do at the club level. Because this is a great opportunity to use funding that you raised to do it. And if you structure your club to do any donation collections, you have funds every year. Like I said, I've been telling people, honor whatever the amount you can afford, honor your Lions of the Year, your club officers, put a little bit away. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be a Melvin Jones, but it adds up. It's kind of like a little piggy bank. And then at the same time, work with your service chairs to figure out, get a goal together of what they want to do. Maybe you can use whatever money's there and save up at the same time and do a bigger project. Because again, that I've seen some creative projects. I love watching social media and some of these other districts and all over the world, what they come up with. And there are times where we're going, well, we can't afford that. Well, and with this, you have actually been saving. And that's the whole point, that there's funds, like I showed you, that are available for you.
Manny,
Yes,
DG Billy has his hand up.
sure. What do you have? Good to
Manny, that spreadsheet you showed earlier that had all the monies in reserve for districts and clubs, where is that
Yes,
available?
that just came out 2 weeks ago, and your district coordinator should have had a copy. In fact, I did send it. So
All
that,
right. Thank you, Manny.
yeah. And again, the same thing, going through the application, we'll all be there to help you. Anybody else? Yes. I think you muted.
Nancy, you're muted.
Now, yes, we have a new transfer member who wants to be the LCIF club coordinator. This is all recorded and he can look at it later?
Yes. In
We are
fact,
recording this and we will post it.
Okay, very good. And my other question is, we have in our town, we had what used to be a little building that was near the park where we had served the homeless meals and lots of different activities. And it was condemned a couple of years ago and looks like they are just now maybe starting to get some funds. Is it possible? I was thinking of, is there a possibility of working with the city, partnering with the city to help renovate this kind of a thing, because it is a resource for feeding homeless and for all kinds of service clubs to use it. I just would probably need some help on how to work with the city.
Exactly where the whole idea comes through. Exactly, because you had a resource that went away, kitchen, dining area, maybe some tables and chairs, but you see that through this grant, you can say, we can afford this, but maybe we can say to the community, we're going to offer this here. Would you match it? Mm-hmm. And we did that with a park. We did a park rebuild where we had funds, and the city turned around and said, you know what? We're going to match it. In fact, they exceeded it and paid for all the permits. They waived everything. They did it. They had their engineers go through it. You know, it didn't come out of our pocket because they knew it was going to be theirs in the end. And then from that point on, our relationship with the city has been growing, because when they need something, they did this. In fact, we created a 501c3, not really to fundraise, but to help other groups. Mm-hmm. We have our scout group that needs something, but you need a 501c3 to get it. You have the city that needs to be endorsed because they needed a 501c3. And so what we do is we use that foundation with LCIF to get that what needs to be done. And so you have a funding here through the community impact grant. The district may have funding, may want to transfer. They can transfer to you. You can transfer between entities if there's not enough funds. And then you can apply for a hunger grant that goes for kitchen equipment and a matching grant. You can do those all simultaneously.
So a couple of our members are in the business. They have a 501c with their group, and they became members, and I'm hoping that we will form a branch club with them. But they are a 501c, so, but we are giving that by sponsoring them, we're giving them our insurance. And but so we can use their 501c and form a partnership with them for donations then.
Mark, there's a process.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Mark a question. Mark, what was that program if you're with another entity?
It's called a Join Together program.
You want to explain it?
I tried to find that. I could not find it.
If you go into Google, Nancy, and you type in Lions International Join Together program, it will be easy to locate.
Yeah.
And the Join Together program is so you have small 501c3s in your community that could benefit from, say, the Lions insurance. Mm-hmm. So you just need to get 15 people that support that particular nonprofit, and using the Join Together program, they can become a Lions Club.
Can they be a branch club
really
with
neat
5,
approach.
or do they have to be a club?
Pardon?
Can they be a branch club with 5 members, or they have to have the 15 to be a full club?
You could make them a branch club because they could
Until.
be a special club
Mhm.
that just focuses on that particular nonprofit.
Very good. Because they've invited me to be on a radio show tomorrow morning, so it's one of the things I would like to be able to talk about a little bit about possibilities.
Right. And with this particular grants that are available, or any of our grants, they do really enjoy partnership. They with
Yes.
other foundations, with other with cities and counties. And cities and counties actually prefer that we come on board. We're not being lobbyists or anything like that, but when they say we represent the community, and we've endorsed 2 dog parks and another playground. And we also helped with um, uh, getting funds, special funds for basically a scout hut that was out available. So the city really likes when we're working together with them. And again, since we're working with them, they're doing all the paperwork and the permits and the licensing, and we don't have to budget that into us.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow it's waived. But there's that. Any other questions? Okay.
I have lots, but that's all for now.
Oh, no problem on here. So let's go over
How
to,
do I mute?
yeah. So let's move over to the website. And again, since the mic's up, Mark, if you see a question, please let me getting up there to do this. Now, when you get into the LCIF section on here with the resources and types of grants, this is where I wanted to show everybody. Moving down, I believe what we were looking at earlier was, I think it was a humanitarian. Okay, so let me just double check if this is the one. No, humanitarian grants. Looking at this. That's funny. It's not even there.
Is it under matching grants, Manny?
Should be, but we could take a look. But since I'm here, I know I'll just type in humanitarian. One of the things that I wanted to bring out that we learned when we had our training a couple of weeks ago is, do you see that dollar amount of grants awarded? They changed it. The minimum is 10,000 as always, but now they can go up to 150,000. So what does that mean? I know clubs can't raise that, but when you get a couple of good companies to sponsor you, you get that funds pretty well, easily. If you have the community behind you. So they have raised all their funding with all the other ones to a higher amount to give out. And so this is pretty easy to get. And again, like I said, this is just the matching grant. The matching grants are the largest giving out, but they also take time. So you have to make sure that these dates are submitted at the same time. So let me get to the humanitarian, and I wanted to show you.
Manny, while you're doing that, I just
Yes.
posted a link to the Join Together program and put it in the chat room. So Nancy, there's your link to get to Join Together and learn something about it.
Okay, so this is what I showed. Under awarded grants, this is a prime example why this whole conversation started. If you look at all these humanitarian grants, look at this community impact grant. Look how many of those community impact grants and what they used them for. With everything to fishing equipment to creating a library. You just go down there, and this is on the main site to get examples of what to use your funds for. And all these different grants have examples of how they use the community impact. And there weren't a lot of money over here. on this side. Some, if you could see the dollar amount, like 900 right here. Dealing, this was a food grant. So they're not the most outrageously expensive items to do. They were just creative. So when you go and you're thinking about doing a grant, open up, they're in each section. If you want to do an environment grant, open up and see who else has been doing what that's been awarded, because you could get a copy of that and actually write it to fit your needs without reinventing the wheel. So these are options in here, and all the different groups have this. If you notice, we haven't used our grants, not like other countries. And we got a lot of grants available. So we would love to see your club and your district.
Andy, I forgot how you got to that.
Huh?
I forgot how you got to that.
Oh, let me back up. I'll show you. So I typed in humanitarian in the little search engine right here, and I clicked on, and I'll even back it up one step further. And humanitarian popped up as my first choice. Okay. Then I clicked there, and I went down all the way to LCIF awarded grants and clicked that button, which was the spreadsheet that you saw. Did that help? Okay. So those are different things. And mostly all these grants are available in here. So don't let things like matching grant discourage you. Use your community impact grant to find out, to look at those resources that you have available and being a lot more creative. I heard some great ideas about things to do. Here's an example. I think you know that I work for the Department of Education. It follows me in social media, but we do a lot of great podcasts. And they were talking about working with another nonprofit organization, and their goal is literacy. And so you know how you have those little book places all over the place that look like little birdhouses, those libraries. Well, they came out and they're doing books in barbershops and beauty salons, and books in laundromats to increase literacy. So there's so many different things you could do with this. I tell people on the disaster side, you can come up with collecting blankets for pets. You know, right now we have fires going on in California. What can you do with all this? You know, you get creative. You go in there. You get, like, for instance, I'll go in here and talk about up there. I spelled disaster wrong. Oh, there you go. Leave it to me to be online and effort. So the grants itself, you can actually use this to do this. If you knew, you ever done a disaster grant, there used to be a thing called a recovery grant. Now it's the same thing. But the grants are preparedness. You can use a community impact and get your group to get together and prepare. That could be a trailer that has tables and chairs and pop-ups, or cooking items, or anything else. It's preferred as non-perishable. That's up to $10,000. And in the application, they're asking for 10%, which is $1,000. And guess what? You got a community impact grant. You have money there to use there. This here, you don't need matching grants for. So you really, I would say, keep that as reserves. But, oh, recognize that lion.
Manny, we have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
If you want to partner with another organization, must they be a 501c3?
No. But in the partner part, I'll just stop this here. You're partnering just to get funds? Is that the question? You could type in. So in partnering, again, one of the things with non-501c3s is that you probably have to create a memorandum of understanding, and you probably have to do that with everything, where you know that there's a certain amount of responsibility before you go in and start signing the line for particular things. So that it's just being a little business savvy on that part, but they don't need a business example. Grocery stores, hardware stores, they may donate to you directly and not use their foundation, like Home Depot and Lowe's. Yes, you could partner with them. Okay, I saw a hand go up around here.
Oh, it was mine, Manny. That was my 501c3 question. I specifically, as you know, am thinking about magic yarn constantly. So I think I'd like to see if maybe I could get a grant to promote and host a huge magic yarn workshop, inviting anybody and everybody that wants to come, but that takes dollars to do. So that would be on my agenda to think about doing it. It probably costs about $7,000 to put on a full-on workshop.
Yeah,
Is that
and
doable?
it's doable on here, but also be strategic in how you apply for grant money too, because there are a lot of companies that deal with 501c4s can use it as their advertising. And so you can strategically say, you know what, I need all these posters, but they put their little logo at the corner and they're writing it off. So you can be strategic and ask them, instead of shelling out all the funding, you may want to get a company that's paying for the advertising part of it, and then you reserve these funds for the actual supplies that you need. So you may be stretching your dollar. It's the best way to say it is. But
Okay.
there are ways of talking groups into it. And you'll be surprised on who will donate for a good cause. We just need to put it out as a plan. The more we're organized, the more funding you would get. And I've seen that happen. Any other questions? So, and I can only see partial of the screen. I'm looking over there. So there are so many different ways, and I want to go back to this disaster grant. And the reason I'm saying this is because, as you know, one of the things you have to be careful with emergency grants, and if you're going to use your community impact grant for this, please be cautious and come up with a plan. That's why we tell people with the emergency grant, it's safe to go in with preparedness grant and start developing with preparedness. And then I tell people that what was the post-disaster is really more effective in doing this. And when you're actually applying for this and doing service under LCIF to do posts. And why is that? It's because everybody goes in during a disaster. They get their $10,000. They're scrambling to make sure that it's used wisely. And then the grants close. Well, as you know, people are standing out in the cold. If you get a preparedness grant, you can have anything from 15 to 20,000, and you got more time to do it and more time to analyze what the real need is. And that's one of the things with LCIF that you can deal with, is going for a recovery part of the grant. And then the guidelines tells you how to do it, and you have to specify that up front, because you can either have an immediate 10,000 or wait a bit and have 15 to 20,000 later and have more time to do what you need to do. And as a representative of LCIF, we're always encouraging to do the greatest impact to your community and really look at the resources. And why right now, and I know Stephanie knows this, is that there's fires a lot happening in her district. Well, we have to wait until the government agencies, both city, county, state, and federal, line up and say what resources are up there. We can go out and buy cases of water and pallets of water to find out that they did a declaration and they were giving it to it free, and we got cases of water. So it's always good to kind of wait to see what you're going to do with disasters, and then come and start working on a recovery plan to do the greater impact to the community, because you're going to find things that everyone missed, literally, to what's out there. They had snow. There's always things for sifting when they come into fires and such. So, think about what you need to do. We hope we never get into the catastrophe stuff on this as well. All right. I'm going to go around a little bit about the grants themselves. So in the childhood cancer grants, it'll spell out, and the same thing will go as best practices of what to do in this matching grant. A lot of this is really really helping the children, making it a place for them they're comfortable. As you know, in Southern California, we came out with the Family Center, and you may want to go around and see what the community needs just for making the family and the patients more comfortable for what they're going through and how to do. And the diabetes grants themselves, the same thing. What do we need in the community to support diabetes? Do we need certain equipment? Do we need places to rent to do screenings? How do we work with literature? Because we're not doctors, but we need to go through and figure out how to do this. And with the diabetes grant, as you can see, it's increased too with this, because you can use diabetes with a matching grant or a diabetes grant specifically, but at the same time, you can do a community impact grant. And in the guidelines, they all have guidelines and criteria to figure out how to do this. And as you've seen, they are growing. So there's many different ways. You may want to do a campaign targeting kids and healthy eating. You know, these are, you know, we know that they will eat up a pizza in no time and then they pay for it later. Those are just some of the things that are out there. Hunger grants, again, most flexible. They are specific. A lot of this is equipment based. And again, you'll talk about equipment right here. And in their grants, you can get a list of grants and what they've done in hunger. I know it's a big issue. In the colleges, 25 to 30% of all students are hungry because they can't afford food. And a lot of the school, colleges and universities have food pantries that they don't advertise, but they're there giving out food to the students because they need it. So these are examples of this particular grant. Site First actually has been changed. This Site First actually closed right here, and it's now going to come as Vision. So if you're going to do any site grants, this is just a legacy to let them know what happened with it. But type in Vision, and Site First now became a part of the Vision grants. So if you're going to do spot visions, you may be able to think of starting your own like glasses cleaning group. There's a specialty club. Going out and a group that's going to be just people who are retired to do what do they call it, kid site that have their mornings available. You can apply for this and get the equipment that's needed in there, and they are very generous in getting the equipment they needed. Here's an example. Again, I work for the LA County Department of Ed. I had LA Unified approach me, and you know they say, "Can you screen kids?" And I go, "Yes, we can." It says, "Okay, great. We have you on the list. We have 300 schools to do." I'm like, "What?" Let's talk about a plan. So, but they're willing to match the grant. If we go for a matching grant, the district's willing to match it, which is cool. We got the screeners, we got the hardware, we potentially have new members, and there's a way of actually starting a club of just going around all the schools and screening the kids, because they don't have the staff to do it. We're volunteers. So those little pieces that are out there when it comes to the grant screening. And then the last thing that you're going to be hearing about a lot, and then I really will open it up for Q&A, is the Lions Quest. This grant-based, I have been learning more and more about this particular grant. And again, this is social emotional. This is working with juvenile court kids who want to turn their lives around. This is working with foster youth. And a lot of those have matching programs. You don't have to go walking into this. School districts are a little bit hard in adopting this, so don't say that I got a school that'll take this. You're going to want to look at the community partner if you're going to try this, and seeing if you can get kids to be in a positive world, anti-bullying. You know, it's a tough world for kids. It always has been. But there are
Manny,
yes.
I'd just like to point out that at next week's monthly GAT meeting at the area level, we're going to have Jerome Thompson there,
Oh,
and
yes,
he's going
he's
to
good.
speak specifically about Lions Quest, and he's going to talk about how to use Lions Quest as a membership growth tool as well.
Right. And again, that's an LCIF project. So when you explore this, and again, I'll open it up. I think I did a pretty good on my time. When you explore the website, keep in mind that there are actually two corridors of grants. There's LCI and LCIF. And LCIs are a little more set up for the district and the multiple district, and they're more specific into training and membership. They do have their grants. Be strategic, work with your global action team about, is this going to be something at the district or the multiple district? And then seeing what more you can need. That's the LCI side. And then there's another section that's LCIF. And before I open it up, let me just show a grant. There is a site, unless they changed it on me, that I think I found it. Let me just check. Yes, here it is. If you type in grants, if you type in grants in the search engine, and I'll back it up, if you just type grant types, you're going to get this page that pops up. What's interesting about this page, it first goes into all the LCIF grants that are available and what we just talked about. We didn't even get into the Leo service grant. And then it goes into the LCI grants, which are some of the membership developments, the things, the zone training. Again, the Leo grants, there's two types of Leo grants. There's one that's service, and the other one is for leadership. So there's multiple Leo's grants, and a lot of this is under LCIF and LCI. So this site that's typed into grants is something that you should explore on both sides, the 501c3 and the 501c4, and seeing what's a good fit. But in the end, I would like to say that the community impact grant that I showed you today, I think would be giving you more bang for what your needs are, how you can be a club, and how you can explore and do service in the micro world and not think about the major world, and seeing if you can get some people who have never explored being a lion to join us. So I would love for some people to ask some questions. Just throw it at me. What do you have?
Well, Manny, I'd like to ask Council Chair Lynn Kuhn from Oregon to talk about a grant that he did in conjunction with Home Depot.
Yes, hi, everybody. I'm in actually council chair for multiple District 36, and I belong to District 36R in Oregon. We put in for a $10,000 grant to buy disaster preparedness supplies. And what we did is we got 5-gallon buckets and filled them with 2 days supplies of things that people would need: toilet papers, toothbrush, things that if they had an emergency, they'd be leaving. But Home Depot heard what we were doing, and they wanted to jump on board with us, and they gave us $5,600 worth of stuff, including the buckets, the 5-gallon buckets. And we had an assembly line. I sent a picture to Mark showing us assembling those. Believe it or not, we had so many people from Home Depot and the Lions that we had those put together within 2 hours. And the thing is, we had all the supplies brought in. It was at an airport. We've joined up with ODART, which is an air group, flying airplane pilots. And we've got these supplies in 2 different locations, one in the south and one in the north of our district. And we have got all these buckets ready and Lions on the ground that will take them wherever they need to be. But if we cannot get over the mountain coast range because of disaster, we have air pilots with seaplanes that will take it over. They've already done some practice runs just to take food to a food bank over there, just so they get used to doing it. And The next step is they'll be getting helicopters on that group also. And this is just something that they heard what we were doing. They wanted to get involved. So we actually have 3 organizations because we have the Home Depot, and they're looking forward to doing more of these kind of projects with us in the future. And we have the ODART, which is the air pilots, and our Lions on the ground in 36R. And so it was a very successful project. In fact, tomorrow we are going to finalize everything and have it ready. We've already deposited, we did 300 buckets. We've got 150 in the south and 150 in the north. But had everything that we took into consideration adults and children. We have color books and little bags for the kids with colored books and colors and just a little sip or drink cups and all kinds of little things that they can have that, when they leave everything behind. And so if they're given this in a disaster, they'll realize what, they haven't been forgotten. They've lost some stuff here, but they're getting something new right now that'll get them through this couple of days.
That's fantastic and don't be afraid of actually taking ideas from other groups. I actually borrow, steal. I mean, just borrow ideas from other groups. And, it's just, if it works, it's great. And partnership, like you said, it's good. And you probably maybe get some people that were thinking of becoming a disaster relief group.
Well, we're even going to try to get a branch club with the pilots.
Right.
A specialty club. One other grant that I'm going to on Thursday that we put in for $100,000 grant to build a food bank for up in Independence. That's in our District 36R also. We've got other clubs involved, and what we've done is they gave us $75,000. We came up with $25,000, and tomorrow Thursday we're doing the groundbreaking to put this brand new food bank in that the land was donated, but it's going to serve 16 different zip codes for approximately 3,800 people.
Yeah. And is that a matching grant or a hunger grant?
That was a hunger grant we put in for.
Right.
And we got 75,000, and we had to come up with 25,000 to make it the 100,000.
Right. So if you could see those grants work, you get strategic, and they don't have to be the club funds. They can come from another entity. So you can have A, B, and C donate to get all the funds needed to be a matching.
Right.
Yeah. So be creative with that. And again, the staff is real flexible. I love the staff at LCIF.
It's great. It's a great success for us. Like I said, we're going to have a big presentation on Thursday, and we're going to buy what they need for that food bank, and other people have gotten on board. But it's really been a project that is so worthwhile and is getting more and more people. In fact, I just talking to a member today from that area, said that he has a member that works at the food bank, has been a member forever, never come to a meeting. And when we told him about what was going on, he said, well, I might need to have to come back to a club meeting now because you guys are actually doing something.
Yeah. Well, what was that motto? If we serve, not we sit. So, so I mean, there's so many testimonies about how using the funds, getting something done, reactivating, retaining, actually, and possibly even having people return. And that's the fun part about this. So there's so many different opportunities to using both outside sources and LCIF and the community around you, because everyone really wants to do something good. And we just have to be the leaders of it and just be a little more organized. Any other questions? This is a quiet group. Usually there's stampedes coming over. I have to
You are a good explainer, Manny.
I hope so.
Matthew has a question.
Yes.
All right. We do a diabetes 5K. Can we apply for the diabetes grant?
You would just put in what you're going to do. I mean, For example, if it's for safety equipment, if it's for, they're pretty good. Put it in, give the bullet points of why you need the money, and then see what they come back. I bet you they have examples even to give you. So give them a call. You know, call the diabetes. There's a number at the end of the application, or email that department saying we're going to do a 5K. Can we do this? And they'll do that. And you can still also use your community impact grant as well. So you have multiple options.
Yeah, it's our 4th year. Maggie's right here with me, Manny. So
Oh, hello.
she's the chair.
Great. So you just come up with go ahead.
It's our fourth year doing it. We have 150 runners each time, and each year it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Because Madera County comes out, and last year they tested blood sugar. We had junior diabetes come out and all that kind of stuff. And then the reason why we do that is because my co-chair, he is a runner for Team Novus, which is a type 2 diabetes running team. And so that's why we kind of do it. And so we were just wondering to get some more support on like how to get like to have the race.
Yeah, and I would recommend to actually call the department, email them, because again, I know, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
You know, there are some great examples that they know of, and even Google some of them. And even with the American Diabetes Association or any of the other diabetes, or the local hospital may have some best practices, or they will know what the need is. You know, so look, you know, again, we're one big community. Any other? Oh, yes. I think you're muted.
Found my unmute. Yes, I have a question. I've been working with our sister city, which hopefully will become our sister district in Mexico, on vision program, helping them start a school vision screening program. So a grant that would be for them, they need to get like a lensometer so they can do recycling of eyeglasses. What would be the best approach? That would have to come from within, or how does that work?
Okay, when you deal with other countries, it's usually has to be picked up by the country that it's going to. They're the lead, so they apply for the grant.
Okay.
And that's how it is, mainly because you need accountability to this.
Yeah.
But also reach out to the a lot. There are what is it? Doctors that are retiring all over the place. Put the word out. They know within each other that you may be able to get equipment, and you may just apply to get it refurbished, then send it.
Yes, we have one that needs a new lens or something.
You may want to do a community impact grant, or look at a grant to do that, to help pay for it.
Related to this project, I want to put the word out. I am trying to collect children's glasses to send down there. I'm trying to approach all of the lurks in our West Coast area. They desperately need, they're starting to do the vision screening program, but they desperately need children's eyeglasses.
And that should be something that we gotta, I guarantee we probably have you know how kids leave their glasses everywhere.
Yes.
I bet every school secretary has a little drawer with some glasses. And we just got to let them know that, put it in this thing, give me a call, I'll swing by, I'll pick them up.
Yeah, I've got a Boy Scout doing his Eagle Scout project, getting collection boxes out to all the schools.
Yeah. So you got to be creative. You got to have fun.
Okay,
on there.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? Mark,
Can you talk about, I'm a club coordinator, I have questions. Who do I go to?
Great question. So as a club coordinator, you have the district coordinator, or you have the multiple district coordinator if you can't get the answers. We are supposed to be doing classes, and we do have a workbook, a really cool workbook. In fact, I'll even put it in. I'll give it to you, Mark, that you can share. I'll have it as a link to download of what is a club coordinator and what they do. It's very simple. It's very nice. It is last year's version. They're working on this year's, but there isn't much to change in it, probably just colors. But that is a great resource, and to get the people to understand that, yes, we are asking for donations, but we're also asking it because we are here to do service. And that's the whole point of why this foundation exists. So if we could teach that. Yes, Linda.
When you say we are supposed to be giving classes, who is the we?
It can be, anybody can be a teacher. Anybody can be a teacher. If you got a subject matter expert, you have your faculty development people, you have past, we on the leadership side should be a community of people who are passionate enough to teach, to get out there. If you have time to do it, please. There's really no boundaries. That's where the team comes into the whole thing.
Okay.
So reach out and do this.
Can I wait until I go to FDI training and do it myself?
Yeah. I knew you were going to that. The answer is yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But like I said, go ahead.
Could we take a quick poll and see if we have any district coordinators on the line? Nancy is.
Well, I kind of
is. District LCIF coordinators. Rob, Jamie, I have a question for you guys. Are you part of your GAT team? You are.
I am in our I'm not able to participate in the district monthly phone calls, partly because it's on the same day as my Lions Club meeting. So,
but you have been invited, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious to see that one of the things that Manny talked about was the need to involve LCIF. And a great way to do that is by inviting them to the GAT meeting and letting them be a partner in the success of the district overall. And I'd also suggest that you do that at the multiple district level and bring in your LCIF multiple district coordinator and let them be part of the GAT team. Manny, do you have any other comments?
I 100% agree with you on that. We got to start at the grassroots about getting us together as a team and to be able to do this. The question, there's a couple of questions here. Can I do this? The answer is yes. There's no limit to what you can do. I have my friends know me. I have this personal motto that no means yes. And so I go forward, boldly go and pick up a book and figure out how to do it. And so, and I think, you have enough passionate people here that you can come up with some great ideas, get together as a GAT team. You are a GAT member, and talk about, at least you could talk about how to either fundraise for a project or use your development money to do a project, or find out, like you said, thinking out of the box, and partners that can partner with you to get a project done so that you can have as much service projects as possible. And so that's my suggestion.
I just put in a link in the chat room for those people who are here. Could you please fill out our evaluation of this course and let us know if you want to see more information like this? We are providing another class. Juanita, can you tell us a little bit about what's coming up when you're off of mute?
Sorry about that. Next one coming up will be October 8th, and that will be the one with leadership, teamwork, leadership, and immediate past council chair Craig Durant will be facilitating that session.
If you have time, that is a great opportunity to see leadership from the club level on up. And it talks about the different teams that a district governor has to be involved in and has to work with. So I strongly encourage you to attend our next session. Lion Manny, I'd like to thank you. You did an excellent job. I think we know more about LCIF than when we started.
I hope so. And we're all here to help too. So if you need more information, in fact, I just sent the link for the club coordinator booklet. It's in your chat.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be there, it's a Google Drive. So if you need to know about club coordinators, please click that. And if you want any volunteers to teach it. So thank you.
And I'm going to put Lion Manny on the spot because
Sure.
Lion Manny pretty much has the same area as Area 1B that he's also overseeing. So if you have questions, don't worry about reaching out to Lion Manny because no means yes. And
I knew
he's
it.
there to help you. So if
Yeah.
there are no other questions, we can call it a night. Thank you, everybody.
All right, cool. And we got everyone out here without midnight.
Lion Billy, do you have a question? Or are you just frozen?
Is he? I think he's frozen.
I think he's frozen.
Let's do that. Let's do the Billy pose. We should have taken a picture of that.